Well, Democratic candidate for the Georgia 6th Congressional District, John Ossoff, hovered at over 50%, just over 50% for much of the night. And then the dreaded computer interruption and snafu occurred, and the unthinkable, but we're kind of used to it happening right now. Oh my goodness, it appeared to go again. Respect to you, Golden State Raider, occurred. After, miraculously, the Fulton County election staff repaired the memory card issue with their computer system, John Ossoff dropped in his share from 50.34% to 48.61%. How y'all doing? Raider Flea, Golden State Raider, everyone, how are you? I'm going to calibrate this real quick and get right to what is a really interesting state of affairs right now. You saw me holding my head like this because, what's up, Hector? I am here in Georgia, 1 hour away from the Crown Plaza, where John Ossoff's headquarters is. Hey, how you doing, Doris, and everyone? And electing to stay here, also because my mom was a little sick, didn't want to just take off up there when she was up and down with her way she was feeling. But I digress. At any rate, the bottom line is we were watching with incredible popcorn eating attention. No popcorn, though. The election results down here. It's quite exciting stuff. Yes, I have Raider updates, but as befits the way I do things, life goes beyond the Raiders. It's like this. The Raiders are kind of like here, and then other things are here in the center, and there are other things, and it kind of like emanates out from that point, but they're all kind of interconnected, right? Anyway, the bottom line is you got to follow what the heck is going on with the Georgia 6th District Congressional race. Folks, flip the district. This is history in the making. Will John Ossoff make it? I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. Marshawn hasn't signed yet. I'm going to multitask. So if you want to ask me one question, I'll flip over to that, and I'm going to come back to this one. Go back here, because there's no guest tonight. So, but I am watching. I mean, a lot of you are on the West Coast. I get that, all right? But look, the bottom line, hey, Donald Richardson, the bottom line is this. Is this. I'm going to write this in big letters because I don't want people to forget it. Politics matters. Politics matters, all right? Politics matters. And I don't want people to forget that because I'm quite concerned about, you all rock too, I'm quite concerned about an overall decline in American society, a dive into anti-intellectualism that we must combat against. That's why I refer to you all as the Zinsters. And here's why I refer to that. Let me plug this in real quick so I don't lose power here. But one moment, let me, as I grab this so I can appropriately plug this in. You can see what I'm doing. You really can't see it. There, okay, now. But anyway, I'm plugged in. Now, then I'll go back to the watch page and calibrate everything. Here's my point, folks. And it has to do with something that occurred way back in 1995, a red letter year. Why? Because that was when the Raiders returned to Los Angeles. But just prior to their return, everyone was questioning the new PSL program created, I might add, by Mark Gannis of Sports Corp, who still goes to NFL owners' meetings and serves as a consultant today. He created the PSL, not Max Mullen, Mark Gannis. At any rate, the questions abound. Were we going to sell enough PSLs to pay for the bond issue? Questions that are common today, right? But what we got from Oakland Assistant City Manager Ezra Rapport was a consistent assurance that we had the right debt coverage ratio, we had the right pricing of the bonds, everything, yada, 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 okay? I learned then something that I have never forgotten, and that we have a tendency to put the expert on high, and the expert be it Ezra or anybody else, including myself, defends their position as being unassailable and unattackable. And that's a bad thing, folks. Even when I do it, I don't mind being questioned. What I dislike about the way some people question, this is a bit of an adjunctly related point, is the nastiness that comes into it. And it's the nastiness I reject, not the questioning, but the nastiness, and not the questioning, but the illogic of a question. All right, but I digress. It's very important to question when you're dealing with large public projects, because if you don't, what you'll get is what happened leading up to 1986. You're going to say, 1986? He went from 95 to 86. What's he talking about? What I'm referring to is this. A company called Morton Thiokol, all right, developed something called O-rings for the space shuttle. Some of you may be too young to remember that. And these O-rings were designed to essentially keep the different stages together, and they were supposed to separate just so. And the O-rings also around the engine areas, as I describe them. At any rate, space shuttles operated fairly well with this structure, all right? And this stream's going to go for about an hour because we're starting late. I'm not going to go 2 hours because I started at 12 midnight and I was doing my taxes last night, and so I'm just going to do an hour tonight. Besides, after about an hour and a half, everybody starts, tailing off if I start at 9 anyway. So we're going for an hour. So don't worry. We're going to go full bore for an hour. So everybody's moderators, everybody go hardcore. Fine. The whole point I'm making is that the space shuttle operated quite well until January, I believe it was January 1986. At any rate, it was 28th. But at any rate, the Challenger blew up. The Challenger blew up. Okay? The Challenger blew up. And no one could figure out what was happening, but it took one iconoclastic professor, Dr. Richard Feynman, very famous physicist, out-of-the-box thinker, to ask the right questions and determine that it was the O-rings, and also determine that it was Morton Thiokol essentially covered up the fact that these O-rings were going to have this problem eventually. It was sort of a time bomb, waiting to go off, right? And that's what happened. It is very important to question large-scale public projects. And I say that to say this. I made noise over the weekend stating that, you've heard it before, my assertion that the hotel tax for the bond issue for the planned Oakland Raiders Las Vegas Stadium is too small. It should be 1.4%. It's 88/10 of 100%, okay? And because of that, I upset some people. I didn't intend to. And as I told to one of the people that contacted me via email, and I won't mention who it is because I consider this person a friend, it is very important to get the deal right. And you should be happy that I'm questioning it now so you can fix it rather than dealing with what could come. I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, I may not be for the project in terms of how it affects Oakland, but I do like Las Vegas a lot. And the one major issue I've had with Las Vegas is that Las Vegas is very good at taking action, but very bad at planning. That's why we have the Fontainebleau sitting 70 stories in the air in Las Vegas, completely empty, becoming weather-beaten, whole windows blown out of it, and it looks awful. It is Las Vegas' example of bad planning in action. No planning whatsoever by the developers, the financiers, or the city. It just sits there, waiting for somebody to take it over. It's horrible. And it's not the only example, just happens to be the largest, of projects like that in Las Vegas. At some point, Steve Sisolak, chairman of the Clark County Board of Commissioners, somebody's got to say, stop it. I'm saying, knock it off. Plan this shit right. And I said it just like that. If my city, Oakland's going to go down, I'm not going to have it go down to some 2-bit, cockamamie, ridiculous approach. They're going to get it right. If that means I have to raise the question and they have to show their hand, good. And that's exactly what's happened. It's called good planning, folks. And too often in this era of video games and quick thinking and wanting the right answers to everything and either right or wrong, we have all but lost the desire for rigorous thinking. And I'm going to, what little billionth of a person I am in this entire thing, work as hard as I can to stop this shit. That is what I'm after. I don't like it. This has been something that's been a cause of mine for a long, long time. Maybe it's worth a book. But this has to do with something called systems thinking versus disciplinary thinking, all right? Now, I'm going on a bit longer than I intended to, but that backstory is what led to Steve Sisolak's tweet today regarding his report that $4.5 million was reportedly by him generated for the bond issue in March. Now, I haven't seen the actual document, but all of that came because of me, all right? And I hit the right people, and I got them to, hey, start asking questions. We're human beings. We're not computers, and yet we act like we're computers. Beep, 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 I've got the answer. Beep, 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 I've got the answer. As the only way we can get the right answer is to work as a collective, arguing with each other, going back and forth over data, and then coming to a conclusion, and then acting, and then planning, and then thinking about the future, and then working to build that future. If Las Vegas is going to do this, I want Las Vegas to do it right. I want Las Vegas to get its act together. Because Las Vegas, from a planning standpoint, does not have its act together in any kind of way. It just doesn't. Okay? So I'm very proud of what I've done, and I'm going to keep at it. I don't care how angry they get. Now, I'll get to your questions and statements. But they're going to get it right. All right. And not to say, and my point is, everyone should know how that tax number was arrived at, that rate, and why it is what it is, and could it be bigger? There's no one around that's more of a genius than anybody else. They're just some people doing a better job at marketing themselves as geniuses than others. That's it. At any rate. Okay, now to your questions. Lynch will be traded draft weekend. You mean sign and trade? And possibly. John Marks, you're too kind. Thank you. You are too kind. And so, let's see here. All right. Who else we got here? Oh, as far as the Georgia runoff, yeah, what happened with John Ossoff, it's still going. It was at, they had 177 precincts counted, but there are 210 total. So it's going to be a while. Ossoff dropped to 48%, 48.61%. But he's still perilously close from a Republican standpoint to 50. Whereas if you're a Democrat, when he was over 50, he was perilously close to, the other. So anyway, now John Gonzalez says, everyone says, let me go up here. Any more news on Lawson to the race? I haven't heard it. You may have. I haven't. John Marks says, stop the Vegas deal now. I think the Vegas deal is going to stop itself in some way. Barry Lee, how you doing? John Marks, how are you? Golden State Raider, how are you? Sheldon Ponder, how are you? I think I answered your question about the election, right? And what happened with Fulton County, I'm going to switch over to discuss Fulton County now. That was fishy. I mean, here you have a situation where Ossoff is over 50%. The last county to be counted is Fulton. And then all of a sudden, as he's over 50%, they have a computer problem. Seriously? Because they've had a missing memory card? A missing memory card. How do you have a missing memory card in a computer? What the heck? That's fishy to me. All right? I'm just saying. That's fishy. That's fishy. All right. Rick Rice. What I meant to say is that they can't afford to pay a big name player big money because they have to keep room for Karan, Gabe, and Khalil. I think that this cap is it's 177 million. So they may have a little bit more room to play with. I have to figure that out. Joseph Jones says, Zinni, what do you think about Stephen A. Smith's comments on Derek Carr? Didn't hear him. If you want to fill us in on what he said. 831 Scott, welcome. Stephen Collins, nice to see you. I feel Vegas falls through. Davis will not return to Oakland. Will bad blood. I think that, Oakland has to decide as a collective how to build its infrastructure. And the overarching problem I have right now is we find any little excuse not to build things. And it's showing up. We're losing sports teams. We are causing people to become homeless at rates that I haven't seen before in Oakland. So we have some serious problems with the way that our city government's ran. And, I understand the idea that some of our council members have regarding, for example, having a soda tax and that sort of thing. But a lot of these legislations have nothing to do with infrastructure at all and everything to do with limiting business. It's either, just being blunt, you've got minimum wage, okay, push your minimum wage monies up, which is great. But if you are running a small business like a restaurant and it's a family business and you have to pay minimum wage and you're raising you're being forced to raise your wages up like 30 to 40%, and you have no subsidy and no way to ease to help you get more money to do that, you may have to in your business, and that hurts everybody. Okay? We did this at the time we didn't have redevelopment. Now we have redevelopment back, and the city of Oakland isn't using it. So we have elected officials who seem to be afraid of activating government to build business and build infrastructure. And they like to regulate, but they don't like to build. And that's bad. I'm all for smart regulation and smart building. Right now in Oakland, we have regulation that at times isn't all that smart, with no building and no assistance for those who create jobs, on the other hand. That's an enormous problem. And it's not serving us well as a city. I, for one, don't want Oakland to become a bedroom community to San Francisco. Now, let's see here. Frosty, hey Barry, how you doing? No, the A's aren't. Frosty the Snowman says, I cannot see a lot of people attending the A's games in New Stadium and Howard Terminal either. I can. Are you kidding me? Oh, excuse me. That will be the new #1 venue in the Bay Area. Howard Terminal will even outpace AT&T Park in its first 3 years of operation. My prediction. Okay. Henry Flores, Zinni, the Las Vegas Journal appears they are against the Raiders and making it appear the Vegas deal is bad without Sheldon Adelson. Well, it is. It is bad. I didn't see the latest article on that, but you're right. Frosty, have you seen the attendance numbers to the game with Oakland A's? Not currently, but I would imagine that they're still fairly good. Probably a bit of a dip as occurs after opening day. Joshua Gonzalez, should Marvin Lewis be fired after so long without a playoff win? No, I don't think so. Because Marvin Lewis has done a great job of keeping the Bengals competitive. And I object to firing a coach without having a plan for the next coach. If you can't guarantee the next coach is going to be better than the guy you got, why fire him? Doesn't make any sense, Golden State Raider. Why did Golden State Raider ask the question of the night? Why people praise SF but dump Oakland, Zinni? Because Oakland has allowed itself to be perceived by the media as too black, too crime-ridden, and unpleasant. This is a problem that goes back decades. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. 1994, I was a columnist for Montclair for the first time. Actually, 93, 94 was my second year. In San Francisco, there is a festival I love to attend. Missed it it's coming up this year. Maybe I'll get a chance to attend it. It's called the Union Street Festival. Tons of fun. Starts at basically Laguna and Union Street in Cow Hollow of San Francisco, for those of you who know San Francisco. And then it goes all the way up to about 2 blocks beyond Fillmore Street. 10 city blocks, all right? 10 city blocks. On a particular day that Oakland had its Festival at the Lake, in those days, this was 1994, Festival at the Lake was going on roughly about the same time as the Union Street Festival. And yet, KTVU Channel 2, this is for you, Golden State Raider, was reporting on the negatives and the crime in Oakland. And that was Diane, I forgot Diane's last name of KTVU, who was reporting on this. Diane Dwyer of KTVU was reporting on this, all right? And then Steve McPartland, who had then something called Mornings on 2, was partying at Perry's, which you can still exist right there. Perry's has great steaks, great hamburgers on Union Street, okay, if you ever go to San Francisco. Great, I love Perry's. It is one of many San Francisco institutions. Another San Francisco institution, I might add, is Rouge, 1500 Broadway. Pulling a plug for Rouge, and you got to check that off. Rouge Nick's Crispy Tacos, but I digress. But bottom line is that the McPartland was hanging out there, heck, a ret-faced, drinking his beer, KTVU guy, KTVU woman, reporter, Diane Dwyer reporting the bad news in Oakland. So there's your dichotomy. The KTVU people hang out in San Francisco and they have a good time. When they go to Oakland and report the bad news. What I just told you about, Golden State Raider, I put on a blog, it was then a column, now it'll be a blog post, a column in the Montclarian. And I pointed out Diane Dwyer was, pointing the bad news about Oakland. This is 1994. Diane Dwyer hit the ceiling. Got so mad, she called the editor, trying to get the editor to fire me. Brother. All right? And then she called me and was yelling at me in the ear. I'm like, but I stood by what I wrote. I didn't call her a name. I didn't say anything negative about her. I simply said that what she was doing was damaging to Oakland's image. And it was. You could not argue that at all. But that's one in thousands of examples of stories of how the media, the San Francisco-based media primarily, but KTVU's headquarters is in Oakland, would have a field day bashing Oakland. And they would point to the crime statistics. And yeah, to be honest and fair, Oakland's crime statistics were per capita among the highest in the country. So high that when President Clinton announced the assault weapons ban, it had a dramatic positive effect on our homicide rate. Our homicide rate dipped dramatically between 1994 and 95. But San Francisco, with its different composition, look, richer, not so much whiter, just richer, okay? Oakland we have a lot of poor people. We were decimated by the decline in manufacturing. And during that decline in manufacturing, we had no real good plan to recover, even with redevelopment law in place. So that Golden State Raider formed the foundation. Well, helped form the foundation of the perception problem. The problem also goes all the way back to the era of the Watts riots. I think I mentioned this the other night, but it bears repeating. And I was saying this in a rant to Derek Carr that he may never have seen. But the bottom line is that the federal government people believed that there was going to be a riot in Oakland because Oakland had a significantly large black population. And this is just before the rise of the Black Panthers. And so the hangar at the airport was built to hire blacks in Oakland, like myself. Well, I was too young. But I wasn't even there yet. I was in Chicago at the time. But the whole point is that this is the idea. But guess what? We never had a riot. Okay? But again, that occurrence was one more example of what created the foundation of negative, that built Oakland's negative image that we have spent decades fighting against. Oakland's number one problem was that it seemed to apologize for its black culture, whereas Atlanta does not. There was a time when Oakland didn't. That was during the time, and I was happy to be part of. My mom was a part of the Black Filmmaker Hall of Fame. That was a time during the late 70s and the early 80s when Oakland was unapologetically black and unapologetically diverse as well. And that occurred, and that remained through the 90s until the early part of the 21st century, like the first decade. Then things changed. So anyway, there you go, Golden State Raiders. A little bit of a history for you, you know. Now, Golden State Raiders, the president. Donald Richards, okay, Zinni, what you said was just plug all these institutions, SF, but none in Oakland. Give me some Oakland institutions, please. As far as I was saying that Perry's was an institution, yeah, well, there are a number of Oakland institutions. I mean, my goodness. Everett and Jones Barbecue, The Alley, Rod Dibble, 3325 Grand Avenue, where I go quite a bit and hang out. The Fox Theater, Cafe Van Cleef, which is ran by and started by, the late Peter Van Cleef, a great friend of mine. Luca's on Broadway and Grand Avenue. Pecan. Farley's on 33 Grand Avenue. I can just tick them off like that. The Grand Lake Theater, the best place to watch a movie in the United States, period. I can go on and on and on. 3200 Lake Park Avenue, corner of Grand Avenue and Lake Park Avenue, smack in the middle of Oakland. There you go. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. You got it. Yeah, Pecan's a great place. Right. No, I love Oakland. Make no mistake about that. I love Oakland. I was only talking about how the media perceived it. I was trying to answer Golden State Raiders' question, which I hope I did. So, Oaksterdam, if you like. You got it. Oaksterdam. I like that too. Henry Flores, Zinni, what is your opinion on the Washington Redskins nickname being racist? I think the Redskins issue is such that, look, I firmly believe that if someone doesn't want to be called a something, you do not call them a something. And I think the Redskins and Daniel Snyder resisting a name change and the NFL resisting a name change is not in the best interest of American culture. Okay? And so there's one fact. It's an ugly fact of life, but it is true. The only constant in life is change. And it's how we manage that change and meet that change that shows who we are, shows our character. All right? And I'm not saying the Redskins' character is bad, but I'm simply saying that you don't want to upset people. And I know that there are those who talk about politically, how we're politically correct and all that. But look, I look at it this way. Yeah, so being politically correct just means you're a gentleman. It means you're a lady. It means you understand how to address people without trying to piss them off or hurt them. There's nothing wrong with that. The simple fact that we have taken this dive in society in terms of anti-intellectualism to where we have to tell people how we feel about them, regardless of their feelings, is ugly. And the Redskins and this whole name issue are part of that. Now, having said that, why do I refer to them as the Redskins? Because that's how they want to be referred to until they change their name. I can't just say, I'm not going to call them the Redskins. Everybody knows what I mean. What can I do? There you go. So, there you go. What do you think of the whole name issue regarding Redskins? What do you think? What do you think? Thank you, moderators. You may fire at will. Barry Lee says, believe me when I say if I had the money, I would move to Oakland because of the culture and institutions Zinni has informed me about. He really did make me fall in love with Oakland. Thank you very much. Thank you. And Don Rich says, I just the team in Washington. I missed that one. James McClendon, how are you? Zinni Ray Bobbitt is moving forward to help organize a lawsuit against the Raiders in the NFL. And I'm trying to get Ray on my show. And still working on that. And it'll happen one of these days. Very soon. And I'm tweeting out as we go here, by the way. Right, update, and then date, and then live stream, and you said I would too. I am concerned about the level of expense that is plaguing, just having a comfortable living in Oakland. I really do. Especially now, Shelton Ponder II asks, what team will have a great draft in your opinion? The Browns. How can you miss? The Browns have such a great draft position that any Browns fan like Dave Cavall, the president of the A, should be concerned that they screw up. And that's the biggest concern. And as we heard last night from Jim Thomas, wasn't Jim Thomas of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch great? Outstanding. But as we heard from him, hey, there's a kind of a tug of war in the Browns front office between Jackson, who wants Myles Garrett, and the others. Actually, it wasn't from Jim Thomas. It was from my friend Rick Saratello of NFL Draft Bible who said that, right? So I apologize. But at any rate, they're in a position where they've got to be careful. And when you're in a position like that, you might as well just go ahead and especially since there are reports regarding Myles Garrett possibly, what was I told? That Myles Garrett had an ankle injury. I have to see the report myself, but you've got to say, well, hey, let's take a look at the year before and judge him on that, and just go ahead and pull the trigger. Because the one thing that I can tell you is pass rushing is one thing, but if you leave him unblocked against the read option, your quarterback will get killed. Now you can hear my thinking about Myles Garrett starting to change. If you leave him unblocked in a read option, you will get your quarterback killed. He will zero in and eat your quarterback alive. Yeah. Definitely. All right. Now, Zinster, you have my for mayor. Thank you. Yeah, not Blackhawks. I see. Sheldon Ponder, what do you think about Brock Osweiler being quarterback for Browns team? Good or bad? The Browns have had, the Browns have had, let's see here. Let's think about this. They've had RG3, right? They had Johnny Manziel, right? They had the kid from Baylor. And they had Cody Carlson from the USC. Cody from USC, right? Someone write that in, because I'm drawing a blank tonight. It's late. They've had a lot of great young gunslingers. So if you've had that many young gunslingers and you cannot produce an offense that's effective, something is wrong, and it's not with the QBs. So go for defense. Build your defense. Build a championship defense. And then concentrate on building a precision passing offense. The Browns' problem is that they seem to be offensively in love with QBs as the bright, shiny object, right? And they're not getting any production out of them relative to the talents they've had passing through that building. So there's an issue there. I'm just being honest. There's an issue there. Jade Smith, how are you? By the way, Redskins is an open trademark since the court ruled against them, so use it as free will for your company. Your company, not mine. John Richardson, right now the Browns are the 2003-2015 Raiders, period. Yes. Cody Kessler, thank you very much. Who's your daddy? How are you doing? Thank you. Zinni, why is Bob Greasy in the Hall of Fame and not Jim Plunkett? I don't get it. Money and support. Not enough people supporting Plunkett to get in. And no Al Davis alive to push him. Has to be a grassroots effort. Got to make it happen. We do. When Brock played for the Broncos, I've seen what he did in games. Jade Smith, that's not a slur. And Russian name asks, how am I doing? Russian name, how I'm doing is fine. But look forward to your contributions to our conversation. Raider Al, great to see you, Raider Al. How are you? James McClendon says, yeah, Zinster, me and my homies are working on a movement right now to help support you from here. Wow, thank you. I'm honored. I am honored. I'm honored. I am I'm going to hold off on my next step in that direction soon, but I really want to make a mark in terms of changing how Oakland thinks about the way it's ran. That's my objective. Beyond me, it's the love I have for my city and my concern for its future direction. Well, let's see. I missed. Let's see here. Who's your daddy? I missed. Was Dan Williams a good cut? That remains to be seen, Rick Wrights. Who's your daddy? Zinni, regarding the big detailed report in ESPN about the meeting in West Hollywood, the only three people in conversation, Davis, Bedain, and Grumman. So who is the leaker? Bedain is always the leaker. It's always Mark Bedain. You can see that a mile away. And what I love is when you say it's Mark Bedain and a reporter gets upset with you. That's when you know it's Mark Bedain. It's like, oh yeah, it's Mark. Got it. Now, let's see here. Jay Smith, you don't have to read my comments out loud. I just did. Oh, I'm sorry. Don Rich, are you really considering it? Yes, I am really considering it. And just how deeply I'm considering it will be evident in the next few weeks, if not days. But I am considering it. Are you a left-leaner? By the way, I am. Jade Smith, I am a progressive, I'm a pragmatic Democrat. And I want to explain what that means because someone might take that clip later and say, hey, he's saying he's not a progressive. Well, no, I'm not. Because I'm concerned that us Democrats, have lost the desire for city building. That means not just creating great job opportunities, but also a great social safety net system that works for everybody, but also gives businesses the tools it needs to create jobs, stay in one area, one city, employ the people in the local area first, and keep dollars flowing within the local community. But at the same time, having those dollars go into programs that allow people to have great health care, great public safety, great recreation, clean streets, working sewers, smooth roads, and sidewalks, and awesome convention and sports and entertainment facilities. That is a city, okay? And I'm concerned that we have lost the know-how and the ability to do that. That is a powerful concern of mine. That's the kind of Democrat I am. I'm a fix-it Democrat. No, not Wreck-It Ralph. That's the Republicans. The Republicans have the singular distinction, and I have nothing against anybody who's a Republican, but I'm telling you the truth. John Kenneth Galbraith said this way back and wrote this in 1965, I believe it was. Republicans have the singular distinction of accusing government of being inept, and then when they take office, doing everything they can to make it so. Now, okay, don't shoot me. to which the Russian says goodbye. Bye. Okay. Okay, now, Joseph Jones. Zinni, in response to the Redskins, hold on a second. Why aren't they challenging all names? The Braves, Blackhawks, anything with Native American ties. You know, I'm not the person best qualified to answer that question. And I think I have a good friend, Tanis Parento, who's Cree, who's a star in House of Cards, Season 2, Episode 24, a delightful person, a fantastic actress, and a great film producer. She is the best person to answer that question. Far better than me. And, you know, it's a good question, it's a good conversation to have. She can intelligently, forcefully, and compassionately explain why the Redskins issue is so important versus other names as well. But I do think that the concern of Indians as a whole should be addressed. There's some people who say, well, we polled this Indian group or that Indian group. I haven't seen all the polls, so I'm not up on the latest statistics. But if it's a concern to a significant proportion of the American Indian population, I think their views should count number one. I mean, think about it. We blacks always I was used to be called black or Negro when I came up. Then came which is an outgrowth of the Back to Africa movement, which fizzled because there were a bunch of us who were saying, well, wait a minute, I'm an American citizen. I was born here. But out of that came African American. I am African American, right? But no one argued against that, right? So if no one's arguing against our desire to be called a certain thing, why should anybody argue against what someone Indian wants to be called? I'm just asking. Now, I'm a Republican, not offended. You have your opinions. Well, yeah, look, I'm a pragmatic Democrat. That means that some of my ideas might be considered as a Republican. There you go. I like to have fun with, the whole difference anyway. It's fun. Yeah, you're a Republican. Yeah, it's fun, I like people who don't take that too seriously, right? Appropriately seriously when it matters, like tonight, but not too seriously. Speaking of which, let's see where you are with the vote after Fulton County somehow miraculously but suspiciously got its computer act together. We are at, John Ossoff is at 48.27. So he went from 48.6 to 48.27, 90,732 votes remaining. So it looks like, unless something miraculous happens, we're headed to a June runoff. Too bad, but hey, worse things have happened. All right. Now, let's see here. Garden State Raider, how are you? How do you feel about Derek Carr saying that if you don't follow the Raiders when they move, you are not a true fan? I addressed that last night. I completely disagree with Mr. Carr, who followed up on Twitter saying that he was misunderstood, and what he really meant was that he loves Raider fans wherever they are. Fine. But Oakland is home base. Always will be. Now, Democrats about to get curb stomped, says John Morgan. Dorothy Coyne, if you speak a different language, your message gets reported. Hey, Dorothy, can you explain that? And John Santos says, hey, Zinni, great coverage. Thank you very much. Can you explain that, Dorothy? And by the way, Dorothy, welcome to Zinni62 Livestream. It's nice to have you. Thank you very much. Very nice to have you. Thank you. And let's see, who did I miss here? Jade Smith says, you should switch to blue and stay out of red, even if you're a conservative Democrat. Well, I am blue. I've always voted Democrat. I covered the Democratic National Convention in 2008 and 2012. 2016, my own party treated me like crap. So I'm a little mad. Well, yeah. More than a little mad. Now, let's see here. Dorothy says hello again. Hi, Dorothy. Let's see here. Jade Smith, on a low budget and unprofessional people according to DNC. Interesting. The Russian is a lady named Trina. I just Googled it. Is that right? Is that right? Rick Rice, I bet Zinni is the shit on Sim City. Yeah, I've kind of made some shitty cities in the past. Just kidding. I like Sim City. It's been a long time since I played it. I like it. Since I used it, I like it. Let's see here. Now, let's see. Raiders record in 2017, 10-6. Dorothy Coyne, people messages are getting deleted, and I don't know why. Hey, Dorothy, we have, or I built it, not we, but I, have a system of filtered words, and so there will be auto-deletes where the moderators can't catch them. So, hey, look, some advice. If you want to say something, make it not confrontational. Don't call a name of anybody, okay? Ask a question. Don't call someone, for example, whatever. But the bottom line is, or have a generic view. You know in your heart when you're writing something that's inappropriate. Just don't do it. Then, hey, it gets posted automatically. And the moderators don't come after you, and neither will I. Leave attacking ideas out of the stream. All right. Let's see here. Hey, Zinni, you got my vote. Anything on Raiders? Rolling 100. Yeah. The Steve Sisolak, the chairman of Clark County, Nevada has announced today that the Raider tax took in $4.5 million over, which is over projections, in March alone. I haven't seen the actual report. That's what he says, and it's in response to inquiries and assertions I made. So take that, for what it is there. Okay. Now, Barry Lee, if the trolls are trying to fill the chat, I block them because they don't want to be really here and they're just playing around. Thank you, Barry Lee. You have my support and applause in that effort. Thank you very much. I want to hear what's on your mind. What are you guys burning about tonight? That's not just Raiders, but in general. I mean, anything. Raiders. Anybody following the NBA playoffs? And I'm gonna hashtag. Let's see here. Hashtag NFL. Hashtag Raiders. Hashtag Oakland. There, got it. Okay. Sharks won tonight. Series is tied 2-2. Nice shirt, Barry Lee. Yeah, that is a nice shirt, Barry. And how do I feel about the tax revenue? Well, I think, hey, look, I said, and I'll say it again, it should be the tax rate should be 1.4%, not 88/100ths of 1%, because then you get a nice $86 million coming in. If the debt service in the bond is, let's say, $40 million, $43 million, as I calculated, according to the debt service calculator that I use from the Massachusetts government, you've got a nice $40 million plus cushion that so large you don't have to worry about cutting into the Clark County General Fund. Why not have that kind of comfort? You can take that additional monies, apply it to cost overruns, and so on, all right, if you want to do that. Okay? But to engineer a situation where you're, from one perspective, perilously close to cutting into the Clark County General Fund, that's not a good idea at all. You'd rather be in a situation where you could say, I'll pass through some of my money to Clark County, my extra, right? Or I'll pass through for this or that. You want to have that kind of fiscal freedom, that kind of sloshing around of dollars. You want to have that, which makes it far more likely that you're comfortably going to pay off your bond issue. That's what you want to do. Why not have that? So what I'm saying is not, bad or without, merit. Come on. Okay. Gupit Ajita Zinni, did you say the tax wouldn't be bringing enough money? I said that as it appeared it wouldn't. Yeah, and I'm still not convinced it's high enough. It should be at 1.4%. And it should be high enough to generate a stream that is 2 times the debt coverage ratio, not 1.5. You see, they like to play at the margins. And here's my point. It's ridiculous to have these discussions as to how close it is. Why not have enough money to where there's no debate at all? You see what I'm getting at? That's where you should want to be. That's where you should want to be. So, will the Warriors win the finals in 2017? Yes. But watch out for the Chicago Bulls. They're starting to look tough. Why the NBA playoffs? My NBA team sucked and aren't in the playoffs. Miguel, who's your team? Well, it's obviously not the Warriors. Let's see here. Joseph Jones, I'm burning about how many fans supported Carr's comments, calling fans who won't follow the Raiders fake fans, but the majority of these people are out of state who have no idea what's going on. Yeah, that's right. And, I'm saying that's right. I don't know if it's the majority because I didn't do a count, as opposed to a vocal minority. Sometimes, kind of important to look at that. Sometimes a vocal minority can make it appear that numbers one way are bigger than they really are. Just saying. Go A's. Let's see here. Barry Lee, and for... Oh. Hey, Allison, how are you? Quigley? And... Who's Your Daddy says, something's not right about that Vegas land on Russell Road. Strange that nothing developed there before, even industrial, which is near it. Yeah, and it's huge. To have that large a property just sitting there, that is really strange. There's something wrong there, all right? There's something wrong there. And let's see here. James McClendon, I'm really sour with sports right now with the Warriors leaving and the Raiders' approval to relocate. Libby, sure could have used your insight. You've been dead on your analysis. Thank you, James. I appreciate that. And yeah, I think Libby recognizes that, but perhaps too late, because I am personally tired, and I told her this before, being at NFL owners meetings and seeing my city dissed. And this was the last straw for me. I have just, had it. And there's no excuse for how our city has been ran over the years. It's just like, it's just like we're sort of content to be backdoor to San Francisco. And that doesn't serve anyone well when you're just sort of half running a city at all. We got to full run it or don't run it at all. And I'm not saying that about Libby, okay? I'm talking about in general. Because whoever you put in that chair that runs the city tends to behave the same way. And that's really happened since Dellums. Jerry Brown, maybe some people didn't like how he spearheaded Oakland's change, but you got to give Jerry credit for being a builder and igniting a wave of construction that created jobs for people. Okay, you got to give that to Jerry. And he used redevelopment well during that time. You have to give that to Jerry. Problem is, he got into this governor's office once again, and then he took away the cookie jar for everybody else that came after him. We've been stuck. Donald Richardson says she's going to name his next child after me, boy or girl. Hey, Zenny in the Philippines is a feminine name. It's actually Zeni, I believe it is. Yeah, just letting you know. Thank you. Any predictions on what happens Thursday between Raiders and Vegas? Yeah, we get two things. If we get a preliminary release of the lease, there will be a hue and cry about something in it. If we don't get it at all, that's a story. Because we're supposed to have seen it by now. If we don't get it at all, that's a story. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, I know you just got outed, Donald Richardson. Okay. Okay. Go Cubs says, Zinnia, you're awesome. You make a good idea. Thank you, sir. Miguel Rose, my NBA team is Los Angeles Lakers. Go Lakers. Oh, Miguel. Oh. Brother, I feel for you. You ever gone to a game and seen Jack Nicholson? I haven't. Hey, Zinni, says this will be. Hey, Zinni, if in the next 2 years the Raiders win a Super Bowl here in Oakland, what do you think the response will be from Oakland fans and the Oakland community? Cry, get angry. Some will call for action to be taken, and depending on whose office, we may be down the road to having something happen. A lot of what happens in Oakland does depend on what happens in Las Vegas. Las Vegas and Oakland are now linked. Like that. Okay? Don Richard says, I know my wife is Pinay. Yeah, absolutely. Cupriagita. Scott, I have no idea what he's talking about. Octavio Arias, go Lakers. I don't know. Dupreet, Arita, I really don't care. Okay? So what? Yeah, I've been at this since 2006. I've had death threats, detractors. So what? And how do I know that you're not this other guy or whatever who just wants me to mention his name just to get his name out there? I can care less. So, I thought you were going to tell me about what Steve Smith on Smith on ESPN said. Weren't you going to tell me that? What did he say? Okay. Now, go Cubs. Didn't get your message, dude. Okay. Like Warriors, too. All right. Now, let's see here. What did I miss? Oh, let's see here. Go Warriors. Oh, Panthers fan. I have a question for you, Panthers fan. I think the Bulls will take it in 5, says Panthers fan. Bulls take away home court advantage. You know what? I think the Bulls are going to sweep them. All right? There's my prediction. I'll write that. Chicago Bulls. Bulls will sweep. Bulls will sweep Celtics. There we go. Yeah. Bulls will sweep Celtics. How come no one's talking about Jason Cole? Jason's a great guy. I like Jason a lot, you know? Or how about Ed Graney of the Las Vegas Review-Journal, another great guy, a friend of mine. You know, guys who really, you know, are in at the NFL meetings and making it happen and everything else, and they talk and everything else to me, you know, that don't have these weird stuffs going on. How come I don't hear about them? Great people, right? So, yeah. So, how about Jason Cole? What about Jason Cole? Give Jason his due. What about Bousman? What about Ray Perez? Ray Perez is a great guy. Let's see here. Zinni, I hope you're right. I really hate the Boston Celtics. The Chicago Bulls really need to come out swinging. Yeah, they do. They absolutely do. Yeah, they absolutely do. Let's see here. Let's see. J. Smith, these are, let's see here. Zinni, reports on the SB1 tax is that they're exceeding projections. What's the deal? Well, the deal is that I put out an analysis stating that what was released in the budget at $14,800,000, you take out the $1 million, and remember the tax started being collected in March, okay? When you take that over a 4-month period, what they put in the budget, divided by 4, that's $3.45 million per month. Over a 12-month period, that's $41.4 million. A debt service on the bond issue, if it's $700 million, if you're using debt service calculator, which you can get online, everything that I'm telling you, you can do yourself. There's no mystery behind what I've done. I haven't worked to make sure you understand there's no mystery behind it, all right? So, point that I'm making is that if you use what's called a lean debt service schedule, all right, you're consistently $1.9 million under the debt service each year. That means you have to take that $1.9 million and get it from somewhere, and that somewhere has got to be the general fund of Clark County. That's what I was pointing to. I sent it to Sisolak, I sent it around, and they didn't like it. And here's my point. My point is, and this is why I say someone saying that I'm basically wrong is stupid. It's not a matter of being right or wrong when you're talking about projects. It's a matter of making sure you have a system of revenue collection that's robust enough so that the dollar amounts that are taken in are so large and the cushion is so great that there is no debate. Right now we have a debate. What Sisolak put out as a tweet was in response to my vlog and videos and the questions he was getting about them, okay? And his own concerns. But no one showed the actual document to say, all right, this is what we're getting. And then not only that, if it's over projections, that's concern to me. Why should the projections be based on a total income stream that is arguably less than it should be when you consider what the bond issue would look like under a 30-year, one annual payment a year scenario, 4% interest rate, okay? I am told the actual debt service is less. Okay then, show us what it is. Show us what it is. Stop the games. You see what I'm getting at? Everyone, since this is the public's money, should know exactly what each and every aspect of this deal looks like and why it's there and how it got there. And that's what I'm pushing. And I'm glad that Sisolak responded to what I did. It means that he was concerned, he asked the questions, but when you put out information like that, it invites more questions. And at the end of the day, what do we get? You get a healthier deal. So those of you out there, man, he's attacking Las Vegas and everything. I'm going to tell you something straight up. You're being a fool. I'm actually helping you make your deal better because, as I said earlier in this broadcast, if Oakland's going to go down, I don't want it to be to a Keystone Cops routine done Las Vegas deal. I want it to be something done. I want us to go down to something that's done well. And if my question forces that to happen, so be it. So far, that's what's happening. Now, so disagree. Can we not have a debate? Trump's president. Okay. Oakland Raiders for life. Barry Lee. Which mods are still out there? Donald Richardson. Hey, Donald. God bless you. Thank you. Tony Raiders. Like your vids, I'm an Oakland Raider for life, but I support them wherever they end up. James McClendon, meaning Vegas. Jade Smith. Just because you don't like the Clinton doesn't mean it's okay to vote for Trump. Okay, I guess I missed some debate that started. Jade Smith is on a rant. Oh, go Jade, go Jade. Willie B. Zinni. Was the Raider organization trying to bring in Marshawn to help with fan attendance after the Vegas approval since he is a pro-Oakland figure? Does a bear shit in the woods? Just asking. Go Cubs. Just saying I don't want to be rude. Understood. What did I miss back here? I was so busy on my little rant. Yes, Raiders are gone probably, but always be Oakland Raiders to me. There you go, Corvette. Let's see here. Dude, he is a deroding president. Okay, Miguel. I am the American Independent Party. What is that? John Santos. My brother has Raiders season tickets. He was on a waiting list for the club. Just got a call from Raiders asking if he's still interested. Yeah, there you go. Interesting. What does that mean? It means that they're probably having people fall off and they want to make sure they're doing their sales, they're doing their work. Rick Rice, Donald, I'm in the same boat. I'm just going to make it a point to refer to them as the Oakland Raiders and wear Oakland Raiders gear for the rest of my life. That's a great one. Me too. They will always be the Oakland Raiders to me. Always. And I still believe that the city's best chance to end this thing is to acquire the Raiders by eminent domain. And it can be done. I don't care what anyone says. It can be done. It's a matter of will. When there's a will, there's a way. The Supreme Court gave us the path. We need to take it. The California Supreme Court, excuse me. Donald Richardson, I'm over. If the Raiders can go to Vegas, I will still drink the Kool-Aid, but I'm man enough to admit I can't help but to love an abusive NFL team like the Raiders. Understood. Let's see here. I think I've got every question thus far. And let's see here. And it's 1:17 a.m. And I start a little after midnight. So I'm gonna check out in about 15 minutes. Okay? Hey Zinni, any news on the Oakland Raiders event on the 23rd? You know, I have to follow up with Godfather Grizz on that. I will be here and not there. 20 Raiders. Zinni, someone mentions they became Republican because they wanted Trump to be president. Okay. Raider Kuko. Hey Zinni. Oh, I got that one. It's John Santos. He said no thanks like many others, I'm sure. Russell Rivera. Why is Libby Schaff so quick to resign and not fight? Isn't she an attorney? I thought she'd be into the fight. Yeah, and Libby is not basically Libby is kind of, she's great, but I think the weight of running the city of Oakland in terms of the Raiders has really gotten to her, okay? And we'll have to see. I mean, he's running for re-election, and we'll have to see what happens, there we go. That's what's happening. So, that's it. Where is the lawsuit? You mean the St. Louis lawsuit? Let's see here. Jesse Ventura. Any news on the seat license sales for Vegas? They're supposed to announce the deposits soon. Tony Raiders. Hey, Zinni, can you talk on the Marshawn Lynch deal? Your thoughts? I haven't seen a proposed deal. When I get that, I'll let you know. 123 Martorito says, let's see here. 123, the Oakland lawsuit. Okay. And, my mom's in this picture, but I don't know why she's standing in my picture.
I'm sorry.
But
I want to know where my thing is.
Oh, but yeah, it's sorry. I'm on a live. That's what happens when you have a live show, folks. But anyway, yeah. Let's see here. It's a money game. No loyalty to fans. Right. Let's see here. Any lose on the state license? I answered that one. Yes. God bless her. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. So, Libby isn't going to reelect. See, I don't know because I don't know who's going to run against Libby. All right, that's the thing. So, it, I don't know who's going to run against Libby. Okay, so that's up in the air. She started really, really early. Everybody says hi, Mama Zinni.
Oh, they can see me over here?
I'm on live.
I understand that they can see me here.
No, they can, if I motion to you, they can know that I'm motioning. That's right. So.
I just want to know.
Yeah, but can it just let me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. This is great. This is the kind of thing that's funny. Let's see. Is any Shimmer from Mira? Yeah. Yes, we can. Let's see. Who the heck is Jenny? I don't know who Jenny is, but anyway. All right. Let's see. Jade Smith. I don't know. Jade Smith, you're going off on a rant about something. You're cracking me up. Joseph Jones, you said I missed your question. Can you repeat the question? Please. Let's see here. 831 Scott. If the Raiders leave and down the road new leadership in Oakland wants to bring the NFL back to the city and the Coliseum land is developed, is there other places to build a stadium in Oakland? There can be, yeah. Let's see. I'm grounded. I don't, hardly. The whole point is, oh boy. How about the ESPN spot by Sam Halper? He nailed how I feel about the Bears. I haven't seen that. Every people have the government to deserve you better run Zinni. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you. And I'm going to go out at 1:30. It's 1:21. John Marks, you got anything to say on the way to closing us out on what's been a humorous evening? Oh boy. This is great. Oh, I think everybody's fled. So don't do that. Oh, let's see here. Is the reason why Bank of America hasn't announced the pairing up with the Raiders is because they want more financial information? Yes. Let's see here. Okay, now. Let's see here. Creature features forever. I agree. Now, let's see here. We have got, it's 1:22, and I will announce, say, Barry Lee says, at least you didn't have a cat walk across the screen. That was funny, wasn't it? When I had Barry Sutton with a cat walking across he has 5 cats in his house. Just retweeted the Sam Alper spot. You need to watch it right away. Okay, I'll put that. I'll do that as soon as we're done here, which is being just a few minutes, folks. Tomorrow I will have as my guest again Rick Saratella of NFL Draft Bible, and on Thursday I'll have a special guest, and that'll be Stephanie Martin talking about her book on Super Bowl 50 and how Super Bowl 50 in San Francisco was produced. She's been on for a long time. Really looking forward to that. Let's see here. Let's see. What happened to Building 7? Don't understand what you mean, Rick Rice there. John Santos. The ESPN article point out that BFA is giving the Raiders $850 million credit line. Yeah, that's right, but that's more that they've got to justify. That's a giant chunk of money that if you multiply that times 1.5 as a debt coverage ratio, they're going to have to show where they're going to pull that money from. That's a tall order that they're dealing with right now. So, Eric, who is investigating the corp collusion from Jones Legends Company and NFL versus relocation antitrust bylaws? I'll give you the answer on that soon. Rick Rice asked the same question about Joe Flacco that I'm sick of answering. Yes, he is. That is hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. This night's a preview of coming attractions. This should not have been a race to tonight. Let's get ready for the backlash Republicans, and love how 2018 is starting in 2017. James McClendon, Zinster, you exposed Sisolak, so he got angry with you. I didn't expose him. I like Steve Sisolak. I think he'll make a fine governor of Nevada, but there's a problem here in terms of how large-scale developments are not done properly. And I'm going to point that out, period. This is beyond politics. It's about the tax dollar. So, and folks, Go Cubs is going to bed. Jade Smith is going off. I think everybody, folks, I'm going to start signing off because I'm tired. Good night, everybody. I'm going to say the long wave. Good night. Thank you all. Zinni, if I find any more reviews on the website, I'll be tweeted. Thank you. John Marks, I think you did a great job on Sisolak, Zinni. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good night, Miguel. Thank you. Good night. Good night. Good night, everybody. Good night. Good night, everyone. I'll see you. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night, everybody. Good night. Good night, everybody. Good night. Good night. Good night. See you tomorrow at 10:30. Actually, yeah, 10:30, if not earlier. I'll give you an update on the time. I got to double check with Mr. Ciratella. So I told him 10 o'clock. So 10 o'clock tomorrow. Yeah. Rita Kugel, hey, Zinni, I just wanted to say it's great that you're spending as much time as you can with your mother. Thank you. I appreciate that. And yay, Zinni, it's time for bed. Have a good night. Thanks, Barry. Thank you for telling me what I already know. Hey, Zinni, is it true Mark has second thoughts on the deal? Yes, it is true. It is true. All right, folks, good night. I am out. Same bat time, same bat channel tomorrow. Thank you all for tuning in. Good night. I'll see you.